Welcome back to Poorly Educated Today in the News, the only show where we look at America, squint real hard, and say, yeah, that's probably fine. It's December 29th, 2025, the final Monday of the year, which is traditionally when people reflect on their choices, unless you're this administration, in which case you sprint directly into another geopolitical tornado yelling, "Hold my Diet Mountain Dew." We got diplomacy at Mar-a-Lago, medical systems held together with duct tape, fusion reactors powered by optimism, missing Epstein files, and a winter storm named Devon, which I promise wasn't named after you, but it is causing enough chaos to qualify as a redneck family reunion with snow. Let's jump into this strategic national audit before the country audits itself. Segment 1. The Mar-a-Lago Diplomacy Showdown. Let me tell you, folks, Trump has turned Mar-a-Lago into a one-man United Nations except the other nations aren't invited. It's like holding a family meeting, but forgetting to tell half the family, especially the ones who usually bring potato salad. He declared the Ukraine-Russia peace deal 95% done. 95%. That's the same percentage of confidence I have when a redneck says, "Don't worry, I tightened the lug nuts by feel." Zelensky's over here saying there are thorny issues left, like territory, security, and whether Russia will continue acting like Russia. Meanwhile, the Saudis are hosting parallel talks with the US and Russia that do not include Ukraine or Europe, which is basically planning someone's birthday party without the birthday person. Brussels is freaking out, NATO is sweating, and America is saying, "Don't worry, y'all, trust the process." Words that have never calmed down anyone in history. Segment 2. Gaza Phase 2 and Iran Deterrence Theater. Now let's mosey over to the Middle East, where Phase 1 of the Gaza plan actually held for once. Phase 2 is where the real rodeo begins. Trump wants a technocratic Palestinian government, because nothing calms a region like telling them here's a government built on spreadsheets, and an international stabilization force. Netanyahu came down to Florida for the talks, probably hoping the humidity would soften Trump up. Meanwhile, Rubio and J.D. Vance reportedly think Netanyahu is slowing things down, which is wild, because usually they agree on everything except sunscreen. And then there's Iran. Trump says he'll knock the hell out of them if they rebuild their nuclear capacity, which is the diplomatic equivalent of a redneck saying, "If that rooster crows one more time, I swear." Could this stabilize the region? Maybe. Could it blow up like a sparkler factory in July? Also maybe. Segment 3. Shutdown Fallout and the OBBBA Overhaul. Back home, the OBBBA is transforming the government like a redneck trying to turn a lawnmower into a go-kart. The 43-day shutdown cost billions, and now the administration's trimming Medicaid by $840 billion and adding work requirements. You gotta work 80 hours a month to keep coverage. Which sounds reasonable until you remember some folks live in towns where the only available job is assistant manager at the Dollar General, and that job is already taken by someone's cousin who won't give it up because he likes the power. The ACA subsidies expire in 2 days, meaning premiums are about to jump like a raccoon who realized the trash can lid wasn't latched. But to balance it out, there's a shiny $50 billion rural health transformation plan where states can spend money on doctors, food as medicine, and AI robots scribbling notes. Nothing says rural America like a robot scribe named Hank who mishears everything. Segment 4. The Epstein Files Explosion. Now we arrive at the segment guaranteed to get people arguing in the comments like it's Black Friday and someone grabbed the last discounted air fryer. The Epstein Files Transparency Act demanded the full release of everything by December 19th. DOJ said, "Sure, buddy," and delivered a partial release instead. 11,000 files out of over 1 million they suddenly discovered, like a redneck finding new leftovers in the fridge. Some key documents appeared online and then vanished like a politician's promise. Congress is now talking inherent contempt, meaning Bondi could face $5,000 daily fines, which is honestly cheaper than parking in downtown D.C. The public wants answers, the DOJ says calm down, and the administration's base is like nope, hand over the goods. We haven't seen this level of bipartisan agreement since everyone agreed Crystal Pepsi was a bad idea. Segment 5. Fusion Frenzy, the $6 billion TMTG-TAE merger. Meanwhile, Trump's company bought a fusion energy firm for $6 billion, which is a sentence no one predicted when Truth Social launched. TAE uses hydrogen boron fuel, which sounds like something a redneck would accidentally mix in their shed trying to make homemade fireworks. They're planning a 50-megawatt power plant for the AI data center boom, because AI needs more electricity than a Waffle House during a snowstorm. Nunes says this will secure American energy dominance, and critics say, hold up, isn't this a conflict of interest? But you know what? If this fusion reactor actually works, America's gonna be glowing brighter than the neon beer signs in a Nashville honky-tonk. Segment 6. Economic Chaos, Metals Crash, Oil Surge, and the Fed Chair Audition. Markets had themselves a holiday wobble. Gold and silver tanked because the CME raised margin requirements, the financial equivalent of telling rednecks at a cookout, there's now a 2-beer limit. Gold fell to $4,350, and silver dropped nearly 9%. But silver's still doubled this year, proving once again that nobody knows anything. Oil surged after Venezuelan dock strikes and tanker blockades, because of course it did. Meanwhile, prediction markets say Kevin Hassett might be the next Fed chair, which is like letting your cousin who manages the Bass Pro Shop rewards card desk run national monetary policy. Powell's days are numbered, rate cuts are expected, and the economy's basically shrugging and saying, well, 2026 will be fun. Segment 7. Winter Storm, Devon, and National Emergencies. Let's talk weather, which at this point is just nature's way of reminding us who's boss. Winter storm. Devon dumped snow, shut down airports, stranded millions, and basically said, y'all ain't going nowhere. 10,000 flights canceled, half of them in New York, where nobody knows how to drive in good weather anyway. Airlines are waiving fees because they know the only thing angrier than a passenger is a passenger who paid money to be stranded. Out west, LA is recovering from the most destructive wildfire in its history. And in New Jersey, 2 veteran pilots died in a tragic mid-air helicopter collision. It's been a rough week, folks. Even Mother Nature is saying, I'm over 2025. Bring on the reboot. Segment 8. The Cultural Shift, Brain Rot, Labubu Rebellion, and the 67 Meme. And finally, America's culture has officially gone feral. People are burnt out from endless scrolling, so now they're buying Labubu dolls, strange little goblin creatures that look like someone microwaved a gremlin. And the number 67 is suddenly a meme, because in 2025, anything can be a meme. A spoon? A phone charger? A number? Sure, why not? It's a rebellion against seriousness, a celebration of nonsense, and honestly, the most relatable cultural movement we've had all year. When everything else is chaos, sometimes the only sane reaction is to embrace the chaos and say, yeah, 67. That tracks. In conclusion, America stands at the edge of 2026 like a redneck on a frozen pond, yelling, "Hey y'all, watch this." We've got diplomacy stitched together with optimism, domestic reforms held together with duct tape, a fusion merger powered by faith, markets powered by caffeine, and weather powered by spite. Whether the nation stabilizes or slides face first into another tractor rut depends on what happens next at Mar-a-Lago, at the DOJ, in rural hospitals, and in the economy. But one thing's sure. We'll be here, loudly narrating the madness like the poorly educated heroes we are. Stay warm, stay weird, and may your 2026 be 67% less chaotic than 2025.